Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Tabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got one kind of show for you guys there today, man. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, as you guys know, there was a very big college football game that was slated for yesterday. I believe yesterday afternoon, between Deion Sanders, Colorado Buffaloes, and Oregon, right? Now, funny thing is, going into that game, Colorado was basically slated to be 21-point underdogs going into that game. Now, as I said before, and I'm going to say it again, I don't really follow football to that extent, so I didn't really understand why they were such dogs going into that game, but nevertheless, they were. Now, leading up to that game, Deion Sanders and his team have been the biggest thing in sports by far. Everyone and their grandmama have been talking about this team. And when you see channels like us, who are predominantly focused on the NBA, talking about college football, you know that it's a pretty big deal. We've talked about them from every single angle. We've even gone at Deion Sanders, one of his biggest critics, in Jason Whitlock, and we've made our views known, right? But in one of the shows that we produced, I believe it was our Friday show, because we don't normally produce shows on Sunday. It was our Friday show where we were delving into the numbers of, you know, in terms of the support that Deion Sanders has been receiving in some of these games in terms of the viewership. And in one of those reports, it showed that, you know, blacks were really supporting Deion Sanders, and women as well. Women were also watching that game. So just yesterday, I got back from the store and, you know, did one or two things. And I was like, oh, that's right. Colorado and these guys are going to be playing today. So I said, okay, let me cut the game on. So I scroll over to ESPN. Mind you, I can't remember it must have been years since I stood up, went to my remote, put on the TV, to look for a football game, and a college football game at that. I scroll up there and I see ESPN and I see that the game is on. And, you know, this was the time when Deion Sanders was coming out. So I do a quick story about it on Instagram. Again, if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, my personal Instagram is ctabanz, Ctabanz. My last name is Tabansi, so ctabanz. You can follow me on Instagram. And if you want to follow us on Dreamerspro at Instagram. So I posted this story on my Instagram, and I posted it on the Dreamerspro page. And I said in the story, Deion Sanders and these boys have me and my wife sitting up here watching a college football game. My wife, who I have never seen watch any the last sporting event she watched passively was the World Cup. Passively, like she was doing other things. She sat down with me to watch this game. Just imagine. My wife and I watching this game. So we're watching this game. She doesn't even know most of the rules of football. We're watching the game, and Oregon comes out, and they ran out of there. I mean, they came out of the gates, and they immediately punched Colorado in the mouth. I mean, it was like instantaneously. They go up there. They get a quick score. They score a touchdown. They get 6 points. And then I think they converted 2 points, so it would be in the NFL, 1 point. Yeah, was it 2 points or 1 point, something like that. And I think the score was 7-0 or something like that. And I'm like, okay, let's see what Colorado's going to say. And they get the ball. And their O-line, for the football people in the show watching this, please take it easy on me. Don't go off on me. I don't know all of the terms and all of that. The O-line, I'm assuming the offensive line, the line that blocks the quarterback. Colorado gets the ball, and what seemed like within 3 minutes, they were off the field. Within like 3 minutes, they were gone because they couldn't get anything. Oregon comes back on the field. They score again. Then they score again, and my wife turns over and looks at me. She goes, but is it normal that a team can have 0 points and another team have all those points? I'm like, yeah, it's pretty normal, right? We watched the first half. For the second half, she goes upstairs and she's texting me. They're down 30 this, 32. This is crazy, right? So we're going through all of that. And basically, Oregon put a flat out beat down on. Like, it was a beat. They took him to the back of the shed. So they beat them down. And I'm seeing comments popping up from the channel. They got humbled. I told you so. Bah, 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 bah. So I go online to see what the coach and these guys are going to say. And then I come across the presser of Deion Sanders in the postgame, basically discussing what just took place on national TV. So what we want to do is we want to play some of the highlights of some of the things that he had to say in terms of what he thought transpired in that game. And then we're going to come back and give you guys our thoughts on what he had to say. So take a listen to Coach Prime talking about what happened yesterday, and then we're going to come back.
First and foremost, thank the Lord for allowing all this to transpire. It's a good old-fashioned butt kicking. It's no excuses, no nothing. Their coaches did a heck of a job preparing their team. Obviously, we didn't. That was good. I mean, that was a really good old-fashioned butt kicking. We went into the game wanting to dominate several phases. We lost offensively, defensively, as well as special teams. That fake punt kind of got them really rolling, and they didn't stop ever since they secured that first down. Well-coached team. Bo Nix played his butt off. Defensively, they presented some things that I guess we just couldn't get around. We couldn't advance the ball, rushing or throwing the ball as well. Seemed like they had our number. But hats off to their coaching staff, to their head coach. Great job, and they're truly prepared. No, you can't wipe the slate clean. You got to watch the film and evaluate. I'll do that on the plane, but I saw a lot of it live. Just players that weren't in position, that didn't do the job that we expected. You evaluate players, you evaluate coaches, you evaluate everything when it's a game of that nature. And you had no opportunity to win, period, from the kickoff on. Yes, sir. Yeah. No, you don't need to hammer home a player. A player knows. I mean, he could fool himself and trick himself, but when he looks at the mirror, he knows what he's looking at. Something like this is I'm not going to say, people around the country would say this is what they needed to humble themselves. We wasn't arrogant or whatever. We're confident people. If our confidence offends your insecurity, that's a problem with you. It's not us. We expect to do well. We expect to play well. We expect to win every game we step out there. We expect to practice to perfection and go out there and execute the things that we practice. We just didn't do it today. But it's not something that was needed. It's just like saying you get in a car wreck or something. Oh, he needed that to slow him down. You don't need that. That's just stupid. It's just something that happened, and they got the best of us today. That's just it. I'm not going to say that. You don't always have to get your butt kicked to learn. You can win and learn. I mean, that's not something to learn. It's something to glean from. It's not just the kids. The coaches are accountable too. We are all accountable. Let's start with me. We're accountable for this. It's not just the kids. The way we played, that really surprised me. We played like hot garbage. That surprised me. I didn't expect that. I got to watch the film. I mean, sometimes sometimes the routes, sometimes the calls, sometimes the blocking. So it's a whole lot goes into that. So you really have to watch film to really dictate and understand what transpired on that specific play. It's a lot goes on in the play.
What's the message to the team?
Get your butt up and let's go. We ain't got time to have no pity party. There's nobody walk around the locker room with napkins and tissues. Get your butt up. Let's get on that plane. Let's go.
So you heard what Deion Sanders had to say there. Ladies and gentlemen, as you noticed by listening to the coach, there wasn't much to say. I mean, what are you going to say? They got beat at every level of the game. There was a player that played for Colorado. He was the one running the ball, really short, stocky guy. He had like some green stuff wrapped around his head, under his helmet, excuse me. This dude, I don't know the player's name, but I was watching the Colorado defense, and I'm like, how are they not able to stop this guy? How is he? I mean, they will tackle him, and it would take like 3 or 4 defenders to bring down one guy. Colorado looked like they were totally outmatched. Totally. Now, I don't know if things like this occur in the NFL, where one team can look so dominant over another team, But Colorado looked like, I mean, to be honest with you, it looked like they had no business even being on the same field with Oregon. Literally. I mean, at one point, it was a third down, if I'm not mistaken. And Oregon is like, you know what, man? We're just having so much fun. Let's just fake the punt. They faked the punt. And the guy just runs up the field and gets the first down. I'm like, yo, what is going on right now? Like, what is going on? And to me, and to a lot of the commentators that were covering the game, they said that Oregon looked like they were trying to send Colorado a message. Not just Colorado, but the entire country. I came across a post on Instagram from Bleacher Report, and it was just one post. I think this was at the halftime, during halftime of the game, where, Oregon's coach, Dan Lanning, said, they're fighting for clicks. We're fighting for wins. Good Lord. Good Lord. I want to go a little bit further into my analysis here. I want to quickly read from an article that I'm getting here from Yahoo Sports. It says, number 19 Colorado completely dominated in 42-6 loss to number 10 Oregon. Deion Sanders and number 19 Colorado were brought back to reality by number 10 Oregon, and it wasn't pretty. Sanders and the Buffaloes have been the biggest story in sports amid their sizzling 3-0 start. Excuse me, 3-0 start, but they were blown off the field by 42-6 by the Ducks on Saturday's Eugene. Oregon was completely dominated. The Ducks scored touchdowns on 5 of their first 6 possessions as they built a 35-0 halftime lead. Oregon outgained Colorado by 378 yards to 21 in the first half as the Buffs had no answer for Bo Nix. Yes, Bo Nix and Oregon's offense, nor could they keep quarterback Shedeur Sanders upright in the face of the swarming Oregon defense. Including in the first half onslaught from the Ducks was a fake punt from inside their own 20, already up 13-0. Oregon perfectly executed the fake on 4th and 4 from his 17. The ball was snapped to the up back 305-pound defensive lineman Casey Rogers. Colorado was completely caught off guard, and Rogers galloped for an 18-yard gain in the first half. And then a few other things were said. It goes on to say Lannon kept feelings eternal until allowing ESPN cameras into the locker room for the pregame speech. He didn't hold back. He goes, the Cinderella story is over, men. They're fighting for clicks. We're fighting for wins. There's a difference. This game ain't going to be played in Hollywood. It's going to be played on the grass. Ladies and gentlemen, what else can we say? What else can we say? Now, here's my thoughts on this moving forward. Most people going into this game had Colorado losing. Although we put up a poll and about 13,000 people voted, they give Colorado the edge by, 51-49%. But most people out there, especially the odds makers, they had them as 21-point underdogs. So moving forward, I think they got served some humble pie. Deion Sanders didn't want to put it that way, but essentially that's what happened because they got brought back down to earth. That's number one. Number two, I do still think that they're going to be a very big story, but now the story is going to be, are they going to be able to bounce back? Remember, they're without their best player. It's good to keep that in the frame of things. A player that Deion Sanders has proclaimed the best college football player in the country. So we have to also pay attention to that. But nevertheless, it was an onslaught. It was an absolute onslaught from beginning to end, and I could not believe what I was seeing. I kept the game on, I think, in the third quarter, but I was doing something else, and I just wanted to see if Colorado was even going to score at all. So it wasn't a complete shutout because they ended up getting a touchdown in the fourth quarter, but nevertheless, man, good Lord. And I think some of the Oregon players, you saw them holding up their watches at the – man, it was just crazy. It was just crazy. So what I want to know from you guys is, what do you think about the game that you saw yesterday, if you saw it? And also, where do you think Colorado goes now after being beaten this way? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts in the comment section, and we catch you guys on the next show.